Being a Roman emperor wasn't just about ruling an empire, it was about living like a god. These men had absolute power, unimaginable wealth, and a lifestyle beyond what most people could ever dream of. Their palaces were covered in gold, their feasts were filled with the rarest foods, and they had thousands of servants waiting on their every need. But with such extreme luxury came excess, greed, and sometimes even madness. Some emperors were so obsessed with wealth that they spent fortunes on golden statues of themselves. Others bathed in rose petals, slept on silk sheets embroidered with gold, and even owned exotic animals like tigers and elephants as pets. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into how Roman emperors truly lived, from their lavish palaces to their extravagant feasts, fashion, entertainment, and the dark side of luxury that eventually led to their downfall. Palaces of the gods, homes of the emperors. Roman emperors didn't live in ordinary houses. Their palaces were massive, luxurious, and designed to impress everyone who walked inside. One of the most famous was Nero's Golden House, Domus Aurea, built after the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. This palace was so extravagant that it covered over 300 acres, an area larger than many modern cities. It was decorated with walls covered in gold, ceilings inlaid with precious jewels, and rooms filled with priceless artwork. One of its most incredible features was a revolving dining room, designed to move like the stars in the sky while guests ate. Other emperors built their palaces on Palatine Hill, the most prestigious area in Rome. These palaces had private courtyards, massive gardens, and even heated floors, a luxury unheard of at the time. Some rooms had fountains flowing with perfumed water, while others had massive balconies offering stunning views of the empire. These palaces weren't just homes, they were statements of power. They showed that the emperor was not just a ruler, but a god among men. Feasting like kings, the most extravagant banquets. A Roman emperor's dinner table was a place of excess and indulgence. Their feasts were legendary, featuring dozens of courses and lasting for hours. Some of the rarest and most exotic foods were served, including flamingo tongues, considered a delicacy, stuffed dormice, small rodents roasted with honey and nuts, oysters from Britain, specially imported for their freshness, exotic spices and fruits brought from the farthest corners of the empire. Emperors were so paranoid about poisoning that they had official food tasters whose job was to sample every dish before the emperor took a bite. Some, like Emperor Vitellius, were so obsessed with food that they spent entire fortunes on massive feasts. He once hosted a banquet featuring 2,000 different fish and 7,000 birds. Wine was also a crucial part of these feasts. But Roman emperors didn't just drink it, they sometimes bathed in it. Emperor Elagabalus once filled an entire bath with wine just to show off his wealth. These banquets weren't just about eating. They were a way for emperors to demonstrate their power, entertain guests, and remind everyone that they were the richest men in the empire. The emperor's wardrobe, dressing like a god. Roman emperors didn't wear normal clothes. Their outfits were designed to show their power and wealth. The most famous symbol of an emperor was the purple toga. This wasn't just any purple. It was dyed with an incredibly rare pigment extracted from thousands of sea snails, making it more valuable than gold. Only the emperor and a few high-ranking officials were allowed to wear it. Other luxury fashion items included golden crowns decorated with emeralds, rubies, and pearls, gold-threaded robes with intricate embroidery, perfumed oils and cosmetics imported from Egypt, jewel-encrusted sandals. Some emperors even had golden shoes. Caligula, known for his eccentricity, had shoes covered in pearls and gold chains. These extravagant outfits weren't just for vanity, they were symbols of divine status. Private gladiator fights and exotic pets, the ultimate entertainment. While the common people went to the Colosseum to watch gladiator battles, emperors had their own private arenas. Some emperors, like Commodus, didn't just watch, they actually fought as gladiators. Of course, his opponents were forced to lose. Others arranged private gladiator fights in their palaces, where they could enjoy the spectacle from the comfort of their golden thrones. But the entertainment didn't stop there. Emperors also collected exotic animals from across the empire, including lions and tigers from Africa, elephants and giraffes from distant lands, peacocks, parrots, and rare birds from India. These animals weren't just for display, they were symbols of an emperor's dominance over nature. Bathing in gold, the emperor's private spas. Bathing was a huge part of Roman life, and emperors had private bathhouses inside their palaces. These baths included massive hot pools heated by underground furnaces, marble and gold bathtubs encrusted with jewels, scented oils and perfumes imported from Egypt and the East. Some emperors took their bathing rituals to the extreme. Elagabalus was known for bathing in rose petals or saffron water. These luxurious baths weren't just for cleaning, they were for relaxation, socializing, and showing off wealth. The emperor's inner circle, servants and luxury services. Roman emperors never lifted a finger for anything. Their daily lives were controlled by an army of servants, slaves, and advisors who ensured that every moment was comfortable, luxurious, and most importantly, safe. These emperors were not just rulers, they were considered divine figures, and their inner circle treated them as such. At the core of their staff were food tasters, whose sole job was to ensure that the emperor's meals were not poisoned. With political assassinations being common in ancient Rome, emperors took extreme precautions, often requiring multiple tasters to sample every bite before they ate. Some, like Emperor Claudius, were still poisoned despite these measures, showing just how dangerous it was to be the most powerful man in the empire. Then came the personal wardrobe assistants, who ensured that the emperor was always dressed in the finest garments. The imperial toga, especially the rare purple-dyed ones, was a status symbol that few could afford, and only the emperor had the right to wear a fully purple toga. These assistants also maintained his extravagant collection of gold-threaded robes, jewel-studded sandals, and perfumed cloaks. The emperor's comfort was paramount, which is why he had a team of masseuses and perfumers on call at all times. The Romans were obsessed with scents, and emperors would be bathed in exotic oils imported from Egypt and Arabia. Some, like Emperor Elagabalus, were known to drench themselves in perfume before meeting guests, making their presence as intoxicating as their power. Beyond personal care, emperors surrounded themselves with astrologers, philosophers, and entertainers. They consulted the stars for guidance, with some emperors refusing to make decisions without an astrologer's reading. Wealthy senators and nobles constantly tried to gain favor, offering rare gifts like golden statues, exotic animals, or even entire estates. But while emperors lived in unimaginable luxury, this lifestyle also made them increasingly detached from reality. And that's where the dark side begins. When luxury led to madness, the dark side of power. Extreme wealth and power often led emperors to insanity and destruction. Some of the worst examples include Nero, who spent so much money on luxury that he bankrupted Rome. Commodus, who believed he was Hercules reincarnated and forced people to worship him. Elagabalus, who held bizarre parties where guests drowned in piles of rose petals. These emperors became so obsessed with luxury that they forgot how to rule. Their people suffered while they wasted fortunes on meaningless extravagance, and in the end, their enemies took advantage, leading to their downfall. Conclusion: the price of ultimate luxury. Roman emperors lived lives of unimaginable wealth and privilege, surrounded by golden palaces, exotic feasts, and endless entertainment. But while their luxury seemed godlike, it often came at a heavy price. The very excess that made their lives extraordinary also led to their downfall. Many emperors became so consumed by their lavish lifestyles that they lost all sense of reality. They spent fortunes on unnecessary extravagances, built massive monuments to glorify themselves, and indulged in bizarre obsessions. Emperor Nero burned a large portion of Rome just to clear space for his grand palace. Commodus, believing himself to be the reincarnation of Hercules, abandoned governance in favor of dressing as a gladiator and fighting in staged battles. Elagabalus was so obsessed with pleasure that he once smothered guests under a mountain of rose petals just for amusement. But history shows that unchecked luxury is dangerous. The more extravagant an emperor became, the more enemies he made. The Senate, the military, and even their own guards often turned against them. Nero was forced to commit suicide after being declared a public enemy. Commodus was strangled in his own bath. Elagabalus was assassinated at just 18, his body thrown into the Tiber River. In the end, wealth and power could not protect them from their ultimate fate. Would you have wanted to live like a Roman emperor, knowing the risks? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more incredible history videos.